Tampa. Even after a Brayden Point fight from one of the smallest Lightning players on the ice, there was no fight. Even after a frustrated Nikita Kucherov fought, and lost his mind, and landed a cheap shot that might land him a suspension, there was no fight. So, the Lightning, despite that runaway season, is in a deep, dark place, down 2 games to John Tortorella's Blue Jackets after a lifeless, shell-shocking 5-1 loss Friday. From the top of the world to the edge of a cliff. Like we said after Game 1, we have seen this movie before, just last season in fact, when the eventual Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals jumped on the Lightning at Amalie Arena on their way to winning the Eastern Conference Final. But this is a number 8 seed dismantling the top seed in the league. This is the Lightning, 128 points, all those records, lurching toward what would go down as one of the great upsets, gags, in NHL history. It did nothing right Friday. After all the Lightning talk of learning from its past, school is back in session all over again. The end of the season is suddenly 2 losses away. No shows. Did the Lightning's showstoppers forget to read the memo about stars needing to be stars at this time of year? After sensational regular seasons, the team's big guns have disappeared at the worst possible time. Presumptive league MVP Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos and Brayden Point have been shut out through 2 games. Going back to last year, Kucherov, Point and Stamkos are scoreless in their past 4 postseason games. Grade, FRELATED, Lightning Blue Jackets, was Tampa Bay built for the regular season. Lifeless. Given its fold in Game 1, the Lightning should have attacked this game from the start. Coach John Cooper should have had the team ready. Instead, he was outcoached by Tortorella. Instead, his team looked tentative and nervous, as if it was still looking over its shoulder after blowing Game 1. Grade, FDAS. Ilating. They weren't all his fault, but Andrei Vasilevsky has now allowed 8 goals over his past 5 periods. He can't keep Columbus off the scoreboard. He has to stop a couple of those shots Friday. Grade, DRELATED. Join our Lightning Strikes Facebook group for conversation, polls, story links and Morena Room. While Columbus chipped and chased its way to victory, it now has scored 7 straight goals. The Lightning kept trying to crack the Blue Jackets' zone with their skilled players, and failed miserably. Columbus was great in the neutral zone all night. There was no room anywhere, and the Lightning never really adjusted. Grade, F. Trade talk. The Lightning thought it had what it needed at the trade deadline and its point totals proved it. Until now, Columbus did just the opposite, and one of the players it picked up was center Matt Duchene, who came over from Ottawa. Duchene was in on all 3 goals in Game 2. We're just saying. Grade, repeating. Where were Stamkos and Kucherov again? Grade, FRELATED. Sign up for our Lightning Strikes email newsletter to get Bolts news delivered daily to your inbox. It can be that simple. T. Miller loses a battle deep in his own zone along the boards. Ryan McDonough doesn't stay with his man in front of the net. Eric Cernak doesn't have his stick down to stop the pass to the front. Andrei Vasilevsky can't make the save he should have made on Cam Atkinson, who stuffed it home to make it 1-0 early, all the goal the Jackets would need. Grade, F. Points for pride. At least Point tried to apply the defibrillator when he fought with Columbus's defenseman and Friday goal scorer, Zach Werenski, after it was 2-0. It shook Point's teammates awake for a few minutes. Then they went back to sleep. The Lightning threw its share of hits Friday. It was physical. It doesn't need physical from Point and Kucherov. It needs goals. Grade, and now the scary parties. The Lightning can come back. Tampa Bay did against Washington last playoffs, winning games 3 and 4 up there to tie the series. And Columbus blew a 2-0 lead to Washington last year. But what if the Blue Jackets learned quicker than the Lightning? We're just saying. Grade, FC. Contact Martin Fennelly at email protected or 813-731-8029. Follow at Midge Fennelly.